let's talk about you, John Butler. You've got like a whole heap of touring to do in 2022. Not the least of which is a solo performance at Bluesfest next Easter.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, uh, how do you approach your solo performances as opposed to like when you're going out with the trio and sort of other musicians?
Um, well, solo is just such a kind of different beast. I guess it's a lot more intimate. It's a lot more folky and storytelling, but I mean, at the same time, I kind of go to a lot of the same places that I would go to with the band. It gets pretty, in wall of sound and intensity, intense at times, and then other times it's kind of get to a pin drop. I've been loving it. It's been so much fun, and um, kind of I'd always planned to kind of take the solo show to the rest of the world because I did that around Oz about 8 years ago and just never got around to doing it anywhere else. So um, yeah, the approach is try to pick the right songs for that kind of setting and take people on a journey. And I've just been loving it. I've been having so much fun.
Oh, that's good to hear. I suppose it gives you a lot more sort of control over being able to like swap the set around at, in an instant or almost change the arrangement if you feel like sort of dropping in stuff rather than the rest of the band looking over going, and where has John gone now? So I
Yeah.
suppose you've got a bit more control over everything that
Well,
happens.
yeah, there's I guess a certain amount of kind of uh, improvisational freedom
Yeah.
when it comes to just playing by myself. And yeah, it's there's actually a lot more space at times to kind of for sound, you know, just being by myself. So there's a lot more places I can explore, I think, at times, or at least that's what I'm finding now.
Yeah. And when you come to Bluesfest, you're always known for bringing more than John Butler or the trio. You always bring a little. There's always a surprise or a twist. We did the big Stop Adani thing. I think last time you were here, and then ages and ages ago, You've done collaborations, and other people have jumped up with you, and famously Keith Urban and you had this amazing jam a while back. Um, have you even thought about, and this being an almost all Aussie bill with a few Kiwi mates thrown in, have you thought about, maybe a little something for next Easter?
Actually, I haven't really.
I
No, I
know we're
haven't.
6 months away.
Yeah,
I know we've
yeah,
got a few weeks to think about it, but yeah. So
yeah. I haven't. I mean, it'd be interesting. I mean, there's so many great people to kind of sing and play with. Yeah, you've got me thinking.
oh, good. Oh, good. I'm pleased. I'm pleased about that. So we'll leave that with you. We may check in with you in the new year, just and jog your memory and go, hey, have you thought any more of that? But what's planned for you now? What's John Butler doing between now and Blues Fest? We got some new material, some new recordings that we might get to hear.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if you'll hear him at Bluesfest, but maybe. Uh, yeah, I'm just writing lots. I'm writing lots and recording at home. So I'm kind of engineering and recording my own album kind of by myself in a room, which is a lot of fun and a steep learning curve and yeah, interesting the process.
Yeah, yeah. Have you found that? I mean, this has been sort of like a crazy couple of years that we've been through. Has your songwriting process changed, or were you always one that went, okay, I've got to do an album. It's shut the door, see you in 3 hours, and something's got to come out of it? Or does it, you could be on the skateboard going down the hill and go, now that clatter is a great beat. I've got a line for that, and so on and so forth. Have you found it with the lockdowns and the way the world has gone that your process has changed?
Um, in many ways, no. And then, I guess totally at the same time because I did want to build a studio at home anyways, because I was literally rehearsing in the corner of a shed for a long time. Um, I was like, I'm a professional. I think I could have a studio and be all right with that. Um, um, the studio aspect and like really getting in on, I guess, the engineering side and all the other production stuff has been really, really, completely different than what I have been doing. I mean, in the last, I guess, 5 years, I had been exploring more in my to like recording myself with GarageBand and stuff, and then once I kind of grew out of that, I was like, oh, okay, let's try something else and um try to make these beats that I've been hearing in my head and all these things like that, and create this sound that I have constantly rattling in my skull, and yeah, so that's been totally different. I still write songs mumbling here and there and in the car and everywhere, but yeah, the technical aspect and how to record myself and it's definitely been different. Yeah,
Yeah,
to what I've ever done before.
yeah. So just pushing your own boundaries a little bit further because you
Yeah,
had to, in a way.
well, yeah, and and I guess I wanted to. I was after Home, the last album, and touring that. I wanted to play solo, and then the band also kind of disbanded around that same time, and yeah, I definitely liked working by myself. There's something definitely really nice about. I don't mind my own company. I don't mind kind of finding the wacky professor at 4 o'clock in the morning to to see where I can bottle the lightning.
Yep.
I'm literally stopping myself from going to bed at 5 o'clock every night at the moment. It's like it's it's a lot. I'm in isolation at the moment because I had to quarantine after Queensland, and then yeah, and I'm recording, so I could literally flip my days where I'm actually living at night and sleeping during the day if I'm not
Right.
careful.
Right.
But yeah,
Of course.
I get
Yeah. And of course, I'd forgotten. Of course, you have to quarantine on the way back into WA rather than into Queensland. So yeah,
yeah, exactly.
because you have all the freedoms over there that hopefully will, we're all looking forward to over here, and a return to some sort of normality, which you of course will grab with both arms next year when you are traveling pretty much across the world with your solo show. You've got some amazing dates lined up, and it's been a while for everyone. Are you looking forward to that too?
Yeah, yeah, I'm apprehensive to whether it'll happen.
Yeah,
I mean, things get canceled at such a late notice. It's like,
yeah,
yeah, I can't. You can't hold anything with too tight of a grip at the moment, and so yeah, I cross my fingers, and I'm
yeah.
ready. But we'll just see. We'll just really see where the world's at.
Okay. And I'm going to take the word C and put a D on the end of it because you are the founder of, along with uh, Danielle and Phil Stevens, you're the founder of the Seed Foundation, which of course must have been also impacted by the pandemic. How is that looking, and what does the future hold for the Seed Foundation over the next year or so?
I mean, like a lot of things, it took a hiatus out of necessity, I guess. But yeah, we'll just see. This we kind of always try to keep it open. That it's something that we want to do, not something that we have to do. And I don't run it. Like, so I started that with Danielle. She's the main director. She runs it all. With Stacia and Carla. Phil just donates, but uh, yeah. I mean, it's a great thing. It's something that's been going for a very long time, or
Yep.
over a decade. But well, I think we just every year we see. I mean, the music industry has changed so much in the last 10 years. We always feel like we have to offer something, that's different in the sense that all the things we were teaching either or like sharing 10 years ago, helping share 10 years ago, lots of them have changed. And also, there's a lot of resources online, and so we're always just trying to kind of upgrade that if possible, if it's relevant. And I think there's been a lot of change in society in general and how we see ourselves and other, and um, all the different protocols have changed and all kinds of stuff. So it's interesting to always look at how we can look after each other as a community, more than necessarily talk about the technicalities of, how to make it in the music industry. I think it's more like how to not go crazy in the music industry, or how to survive, or how to look after your mental health. Like I think
Yes,
the landscape's changed, and so we talk more about that probably than we do about distribution deals. And so, yeah, we'll just see. We'll see if it's relevant.
yes,
See what.
yes, yes. You're right. I agree. It's become more of establishing sort of one's own, not mental health, but sort of stability to cope with whatever the music industry and all its changes can throw at you, as the pandemic did at the drop of a hat. Some people sort of got in, didn't get into the pandemic, but sort of survived it and went, okay, well, I'll do this. And others sort of, bless their hearts, have crawled into a hole and have felt it very badly. A lot of the workers, as you are probably aware, behind the scenes have been suffering dreadfully over the past couple of years. And we saw it firsthand here, of course, when we were cancelled at Easter the day before we opened, which was, as close as you can get without sort of firing the starting gun, and the look on everybody's face, and the disappointment and disillusionment that came with that. And yeah, so yes, I see how the Seed Foundation will have had to have changed to sort of help people cope with what is going to be thrown at them.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, God, you guys got it rough. Uh, that was so brutal.
Yes, the day before was that was the hardest one out of the three that we've had cancelled. But let's not talk about that. Easter next year, we should be opened up, according to current current status on one person per square meter. We can pretty much operate at a much higher capacity than we were going to be allowed for the last couple anyway. So it will be a sense of normality, hopefully, by that time, which will sort of lift everybody's spirits. Certainly, the artist seeing a house that's not separated by gates, and the crowd just being able to get into it. I think it's going to be a good one, and we look forward to seeing you, John.
Yeah, well, I look